What's up, everyone? It's Hattie again, ready to bring you another scouting report for the Habs 2022 NHL Draft picks. So this time around, we'll be looking at Cedrick Guindon, the Habs 127th overall pick in the draft, and the 7th player that they selected. So if you're looking at the name and you're thinking, oh, it's a local guy, not necessarily. He's actually from Rockland, Ontario. Before getting into it, though, just remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in order to start monetizing these videos. So feel free to drop a subscribe if you haven't already. It's going to help out the channel a lot. And leave a comment. It helps me to know sort of what you guys enjoy, what you guys want to talk about. The content's going to change once I'm done with these 11 prospects that I'm going through that they have selected in this year's draft. So it's going to be interesting for me to know sort of what you guys want to see next. So moving on to Guindon, he's a left wing. Well, he split his time between left wing and center, but I think he was much better at left wing. He was more in his element. And 5'10", 170 pounds. He's not the biggest forward. In this range, though, at 127, the players are getting are mostly projects for players with a lot of things to improve in their games, but a couple key tools that give them a lot of promise and upside. So I think the Habs did not bad with this selection. This season in the OHL, he earned 59 points in 68 games for this open sound attack. That was good for second on the team behind Denis Gault, who's 9 months older. So that's really good in terms of that. He actually exceeded Srvak Petrovsky's point totals in this season. And the attack weren't necessarily the most powerhouse team in the OHL. So it was pretty good to see. And in terms of his cohort, he was 6th among draft eligibles for this year in terms of points per game, behind mostly first and second round picks in Shane Wright, Luca Del Belluz, David Goyette, Menchikov, Christian Kyrou. So really well surrounded in that sense. So we're going to look at the data and footage for 3 games. Here are the 3 games I've got data and footage for. So the first one I went way back to December 4th, this 7-4 loss against the Flint Firebirds. He earned a goal and an assist in that game. The other game I've got is this February 19th 4-1 loss against the Sioux Greyhounds. And finally, I've got this April 27th 5-3 win against the Sarnia Sting, in which he earned a goal. So 2 goals and 2 assists in the sample I've got. So let's get into it right now. We'll look at the data that I've got for those 3 games. All right, so here's a data set for the 3 games that I tracked. As usual, feel free to pause and look at the individuals if you want to, but I'll go through this pretty quick. So we took 20 shot attempts in the 3 games I tracked. That's the most out of all the prospects that I've tracked so far. 14 of them were on net, and 14 of them were from the slot. So not only is he accurate with his shot, but he takes a lot of them from dangerous areas, which is always very promising. Passing-wise, pretty average across the board. What I found interesting is that his power play passing was actually holding back his passing percentage overall. His passing percentage at even strength was higher. And actually, most of the passes that he missed over here were some of these passes, so dangerous passes. So he's pretty daring with his passing on the power play when he's not shooting, of course. His high danger pass attempt percentage wasn't the highest, but it was decent enough to be noticeable. And in terms of retrievals, I was decently impressed with this. First, he was involved in almost as many contested battles as loose puck retrievals, which is an indication that this prospect is involved along the boards. And he won most of his battles. As a 5'10", 170-pound forward, I'll take that any time of the day. Face-offs-wise, it wasn't that impressive, which is one of the main reasons I think he'll make a better winger. And in terms of play driving, everything across the board was in the positives. More shot attempts for than against for his team when he was there, more high danger passes, more passes to the slot, all that good stuff. And in terms of line carries, he was very involved in terms of transition, but didn't carry the puck across 3 lines a lot. So he plays give and go a lot, which is a very promising tool, a very projectable tool for prospects, especially forwards. The ability to pass and then move into open space, always really good. And finally, in terms of defense, more takeaways and turnovers, always a blessing. 31 puck disruptions in 3 games is a high number. That's about 10 a game. He wasn't involved much physically in terms of body checks, didn't block that many passes, and didn't get involved in terms of shot blocks as well. But when it comes to forechecking, when it comes to disrupting the puck with his stick, he's involved a lot, so he gravitates around the play a lot. So that's what I've got in terms of data. So now we're going to look at the footage for Guindon and break down his strengths, weaknesses, NHL projection, all that stuff. All right, so Guindon's going to be number 11 in red or in white. So we're going to start with his skating as we usually do. So he's got a good crossover utilization. He also pushes off his outside edges really well to create speed and transition. He's got this willingness to push the pace and to battle for the puck and uses feistiness to get around defenders and make plays through them. He cuts through the middle really easily as well, which is always very promising. He doesn't hesitate to skate towards crowds and find space around them, and is very aware of his surroundings when passing the puck as well, which helps him build up speed and then make plays. Again, just cutting through defenses really easily. I think his posture needs a tiny bit of work, but he's got great inside-out moves. He's got decent enough agility to make plays in transition with regularity. It helps him create off the rush, get some shots off, and just generally makes him a very projectable skater. His knee bend is kind of imperfect. It's decent enough that he's able to push off really well, but it contributes to his choppiness since he can't really build up enough momentum through his forward strides to sort of carry him through the motion. So his strides stop a bit early, but again, he uses crossovers really, really well. And that sort of compensates for it since he doesn't need to push off as hard. He also pivots really well. He can stop on a dime and make plays through his pivots quite decently, and has that separation gear in order to get around defenders or stop and sort of misdirect them. And here it's going to earn him a goal as he fights for that puck and then barrels around the defender, goes in alone, and scores 5-hole. Next up, we're going to look at Guindon's intensity and disruptiveness in all three zones. So here he's going to earn an assist actually just by putting his stick in the way and on a dump out and generating a turnover that way. He's very disruptive in the neutral zone. He reads opponents' intentions on the breakout really well and gets involved at the right times. He covers for his defenseman really well as well. Which puts him in situations where he's able to use that good stick positioning. He's really intense on the forecheck. Again, just does a great job of blocking breakouts. These next two plays really show it exceptionally well. In general, you see a prospect doing these kinds of things, and you start to understand sort of what's going on in their head and what they're thinking on the ice. Just very, very involved in general, and he's able to create turnovers multiple times a game this way. Just by getting involved along the boards and making smart little reads, poke checking pucks towards teammates and stuff like that. He also reads plays really well off the puck and jumps in at the right times in order to intervene and get pucks to his teammates. Here's another example of him blocking a breakout and helping his team recover the puck. He does a great job of pushing opponents to the outside as well, so really great play reading in that sense. He's able to get involved along the boards very often, and more often than not, when he does get involved, it ends up being a positive play. He does need to get a bit stronger, just to work on his core strength and his upper body utilization when getting involved in physical checks, but in general, he tracks plays really well, and here's going to earn him an assist, just being relentless on the puck and putting in that extra effort in order to get the puck to his teammate, and he's able to put that in. And again, just creates a lot of turnovers in general all over the ice. So next we're going to look at Guindon's off-puck movement and the way that feeds his playmaking ability. So you're going to see him here sort of slip between checks. I like the way that he weaves out of this pocket here in order to find some extra space for his shot. It helps him offensively a lot. Here again, he finds the space between checks and makes a play to his teammate to advance play offensively and create a very decent scoring chance. I love the way that he occupies space off the rush, and I love this little play he does here where he looks off his pass, looks as if he's going to shoot, and then he tries to thread it through. It doesn't work at all, but just the intention of trying to do that is already impressive. He's able to thread passes through seams. He doesn't really use that many different types of passes. He'll occasionally try a saucer or an area pass, but I wouldn't say that his offensive playmaking arsenal is as vast as it could be. And again, just covers for his defense here. He does a great job of that as well, which puts him in situations where he's able to play pucks off the boards to his teammates and then funnel up the ice for extra puck touches. So here he does a great job, again, of connecting with his teammate. Same thing here. He funnels up the ice through the middle and creates space for himself. And look at this little backhand pass here. Almost works out for his teammate. He's got good intentions and can make good reads most of the time. And just supports his teammates really well off the puck, and that helps him a lot to find the space required to make plays. Again, covers for his defense. He's going to play a long pass here through his teammate. That was a brilliant pass, but he's not done there. He's going to continue through his movement, find some space, and then get a shot on net. So rarely does he stop after his passes. By the way, this is a brilliant pass that he tried out here on the backhand through multiple seams. He uses his disruptiveness and intensity as well off the puck in order to create chances for his teammates. These are two scenarios where he's going to get the puck through smart defensive stick. And here's going to cut to the middle, get a pass, and then play give and go to get a shot off, and it eventually leads to a goal. So his ability to cut to the middle, play give and go, move off the puck efficiently really helps his playmaking. I wouldn't say that it's the strongest element of his offensive game, but there's smart little habits that he has. Another one here that's very obvious and that helps him a lot is just scanning. If you focus on Guindon specifically, you're going to see him pivot his head multiple times to sort of scan what's going on around him. And that gives him a sort of mental map of his surroundings and helps him make better decisions under pressure. So that's really good. Next, we're going to look at Guindon's shots. So what I really like is how various his shooting arsenal is. He doesn't sort of rely on one or two shots in order to create chances. He's able to get his body open really well to create leverage on his one-timers, get some velocity on him. You can shoot off either leg. Here, you're going to see him shoot off his left leg, and on this next play here, he's going to use his right leg to create momentum. He's able to move off the puck really well, which we saw before in the playmaking section, but it also applies to his shooting. As his teammate cuts in the middle, he adapts really well, and he cuts to the inside himself, which is another habit that he has when trying to shoot the puck that's really promising. He's not necessarily the best at collecting bad pucks and turning them into good ones, but he's also comfortable one-timing the puck. He can miss a net at times, but honestly, it's as we saw in the data, it's much more likely that he puts a puck on net. He knows how to beat screens most of the time and get pucks on net, so that's really promising. And again, here's another example of him sort of one-timing the puck, so he's really comfortable with those situations. Here again, he needs a bit of work on the mechanics just to make them more refined and useful, but I like the way that he cuts to the middle often in order to get shots. The habits are there, and he's already got a pretty decent shot, so it's definitely a strength in this game. Now let's switch to focus to some of Guindon's weaknesses, and I think the most obvious one would be his trouble when collecting pucks off the boards, when retrieving pucks or receiving passes. He tends to lose the puck off the tip of his stick a lot, and that leads to a lot of turnovers. A lot of the turnovers that he had were generated this way. It's just a lack of protection mechanics and an inability to just corral the puck and make quick plays under pressure. He'll definitely need to fix that in order to be a good NHLer, because you need to make the most out of every puck touch at the NHL, since you don't get many of those. Couple of face-off clips to finish off here. So Guindon does a really good job of getting involved as a winger on these tie-ups and getting a stick on the puck in order to try to get the puck to his teammates. He's really aware of where the puck is. In the dot, he needed some work, but honestly, I love the way that he moves off the puck in order to find opportunities to get a stick on it, so that's really projectable. So to recap, Guindon's intelligent off-puck movement, his quick processing speed, his intensity and disruptiveness on the forecheck, and his wide shooting arsenal are supported by great crossover usage and edge work. This makes him a strong puck carrier, a constant threat away from the puck, a reliable goal scorer, and a very decent forechecker. If he works on his most glaring weakness, which is corralling pucks when retrieving them or receiving passes, while also improving his posture, lengthening his strides, expanding his passing toolkit, and adding muscle to his frame to help him protect pucks through contact, we're looking at a pretty solid player in a couple years. He could top out as a reliable middle six scoring winger who could develop at center with work on his faceoffs and his playmaking specifically. He's likely going to be a bottom six or fourth line fringe scorer though, since his quick processing combined with his intensity and quick feet offer him a high ceiling to work with. So that's all for me today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to keep up with the rest of my content and support the channel. I'll be going over Jared Davidson's game in the next video, so stay tuned for that. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see next on the channel once the NHL regular season starts. Feel free to leave a like on the ideas you think are great in the comment section as well, and I hope you all have a great day. Hattie out.